Hi there, welcome back to Fix My AG Doll. My name is Sarah and today I'm going through a Caroline restoration. I want to keep this intro short, so basically do all the things, the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're interested in staying up with the kinds of things that I'm uploading, and yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. This is a Caroline that I found online. She was in rough shape, and I'm going to walk through the process of me restoring her and kind of my decision making process along the way, especially when it came to her ratted and tatted wig. Here we go. All right, so I'm first going to take stock of the things that I need to do on this Caroline. So we can take a look at her face. And her face, she has some shine marks on her nose, on her cheek here. Her eyes are going to need a dusting. Her ears are also going to need a dusting. There are some splotches here and there on her arms that I think these will come off just fine with just a light cleaning. And the legs do have some staining though. That's gonna be some more work, unfortunately, but that's okay. And in terms of smell, she definitely smells like someone's house, but we're gonna see if we can get rid of that smell without having to restuff her. Her hair definitely is carrying a lot of the smell, so we are gonna give her hair a wash. Her wig is thinner. It's on the thinner side. You can see this is how big the ponytail is, but it is pretty soft actually. I don't think I'm gonna have to steam it. We're just gonna give it a good brushing and see where that leaves us. And then obviously recurl it. So, gosh, she has like glitter on her face. I don't know if it's coming through or not. All right, and her eyes function properly. Also, her limbs are pretty tight. I don't think they need to be retightened. So this is how I have gotten into the habit of cleaning limbs. I know a lot of people like to use the magic eraser, and I don't. Magic erasers are actually more expensive than people make them out to be because, like, I mean, I do a lot of doll restorations, so if you don't do doll restorations that often, you know, it's not going to make that much of a difference, but I mean, usually if I'm getting like a bad TLC condition doll, a magic eraser will last me 3 dolls, and those are like $2 each. I mean, they add up and they don't do that great of a job. They also flake apart, and I've had like magic eraser bits fall behind the eye, and I'm like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to me to have to deal with that kind of annoyance and risking, you know, magic eraser bits and pieces going all over the place. I also don't know what magic eraser is made out of, so, you know, just in case there's one of those infomercials 30 years from now that's like, did you or a loved one use magic eraser between the years 2020 and 2023, you may be eligible for compensation. You know, I don't know what's in there, and I'd rather use stuff that I know is like non-toxic and safe. So my first line of defense is to use just dishwasher soap and a toothbrush that I don't use for my mouth, with softer bristles so that you're not scratching, and just giving it a nice scrub. I think it does a really, really good job, and if there's stuff stuck to the doll, it does a pretty nice job at cleaning off and pulling off anything stuck. If the dishwasher soap isn't working well, sometimes then I'll use the baking soda, and I use baking soda because it has more of like a grit to it, so that can help, and it's also a deodorizer as well, so it works well for that. Okay, quick editing note. I do want to note I do use Magic Eraser. It's just kind of my last resort. I am exaggerating, like there is no evidence that I'm aware of to suggest that Magic Eraser will actually harm you in any way. I just like to use kind of the natural tried and true methods like soap and baking soda before I move on to other things, especially because, like I mentioned, the Magic Eraser really does add up, and I've just had it crumble up and then make my life more difficult. So I just try to avoid it when I can. All right. So I've scrubbed her limbs, and now off camera, I'm just gonna go and rinse off her limbs in my sink. Okay, so her limbs are now clean. Just gonna pat them dry so that I minimize how much water touches the cloth body. It's just out of an abundance of precaution. The likelihood that mold will spawn from the cloth body getting wet is pretty slim, but again, just out of an abundance of precaution, we might as well do that. So now I'm gonna focus on cleaning her face. So the way I'm gonna do this is, again, with the toothbrush, and I should say I have a bowl here with a soapy mixture that I use to dip into. So I'm going to very, very gently scrub her little face. So she still has these stains on her leg. That's not going to come out with Magic Eraser or anything. I already know it. So I'm going to use benzoyl peroxide. It also looks like she has an indent on her arm. It almost looks like a vein. So I'm going to see if I can fix that. She does have still like one mark here. I can't tell if that's ink transfer or if that's something else. Yeah, it's not coming off with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I have a plate of baking soda, and I'm going to take my my toothbrush, and very gently go over that stain. See if it lifts. All right. So it still is a little bit visible. I think that it is a little bit of dye transfer, so we're gonna have to put that spot also with a little bit of benzoyl treatment. Editing Sarah, before you type in the comments, I am aware of the research that came out about benzoyl peroxide and increased risk of cancer. I went in and read those articles. I'm actually a scientist. I don't know if I've mentioned that or not. So I understand statistics. I read through it. The effects weren't that large, and I use the treatment outside. I don't bring it inside at all. It only sticks out on my balcony. So I'm not too concerned about it personally for my own health, and I also have like almost no cancer in my family, so I'm just not at risk in general. So this is not me endorsing it and telling you that you should use it or shouldn't use it. I'm just saying, you know, if you understand statistics and science, I highly recommend reading those articles and making a decision for yourself and considering your own risk factors and health factors and all of that, and what spaces you have available. So if I didn't have a balcony, I may not be doing it, but I feel pretty safe in my decision personally. But otherwise, she's looking pretty good. I am going to wash the back of her head as well. She has just some crusts in here. She still has some of the glitter on her face too. Gosh, glitter is literally just a nightmare. Keep glitter away from your American Girl dolls. So next step is to brush her hair. So her hair doesn't have any curls in it right now, obviously, anymore. So I'm just gonna brush it like normal. Her hair is all brushed. I will say the smell is getting pretty intense now that her hair is wet, this kind of musty smell. So I'm definitely gonna wash it next. And you might be asking, why would you brush it before, washing it? Aren't you just gonna brush it after as well? And the answer is yes, I am, but brushing helps take out little pieces in the hair. And I mean, I've literally had like dirt clumps, dust bunnies, little chunks of undisclosed objects like come out of doll hair. And so I just like to kind of comb through and get as much of that stuff out as possible. It also gives me a better sense of like what I'm dealing with doll hair wise. So here you can see she has a lot of breakage from her hair. She has a lot of these short hairs, which does help with the volume on the top of her head, so it gives her hair a little bit of a lift, but of course also means that her hair is quite thin at the bottom. So what I'm going to do next is wash her hair. So have again a bucket with just Dawn dishwasher soap. If you're allergic to any kinds of smells, obviously pick the kind of dishwasher soap that works best for you. Okay, so now that her hair is rinsed, we can go ahead and start styling it. So when the hair is wet, I prefer to use a wet brush over the American Girl doll wire brushes for a couple of reasons. One, I like how much more separation there is in the plastic one. I think it's just gentler on the hair. Two, the wig wire brushes, at least the ones that I have, all have wood and like a fabric thing on the brush. So I just don't want them to get moldy from all the water and then, potentially, spreading mold between my dolls. No, thank you. So I'm going to do this. The other thing I should say is whenever I brush with the wet brush, I always pull a lot less hair than using the American Girl doll brushes. And I don't know, is this like a conspiracy theory? Like, do they make the brushes specifically to pull out your doll's hair and then make you go to the doll hospital or pay for the doll hospital to replace the head? I don't know. I'm sure I'm exaggerating, but okay. So I'm using these curlers. These are literally from the Dollar Tree. I think that they work really well for something like this. And on my blog, I have an alternative method for restoring Caroline's hair, making it how I personally think it looks cuter, which is more of like a wavy look using pin curls. But I'm gonna be doing this today to mimic her actual like meat hair into the hot dog hair, as I like to describe it, because it's literally just like tubes, thick long tubes that look like hot dogs. Okay, So you're gonna take the hair piece and then you're gonna just take your curler, whatever style you have, and you're gonna wrap it as tightly as possible. Just going up the hair. You might have to hold her head as you tightly pull it in. And then once it's at the head, lock in that sucker into place. So if you have traditional rollers, that'll mean, you know, with a bobby pin. These do not have a bobby pin. It has just the closure like this. All right, there we go. So when I pull the hair pieces, I try to go in accordance with the lines on the wig cap. So there's wefts, and so I really try and pull the hair with the wefts because that's the way it's gonna naturally fall onto the doll. So this is what she looks like, all curled up. If you have a Caroline with more hair, you're probably gonna need more curlers, but yeah, she really doesn't have that much left, unfortunately, but that's where we will leave her. So glam. All right, so it's been many moons later. It took a long time to get all of the dye out of Caroline's limbs. But as you can see, it is out. I live in Pennsylvania right now and it's just constantly rainy and dreary, so unfortunately didn't have a lot of days of sunlight. I'd say it probably took 5 full days of sunlight for all those stains to come out. So just to give you a sense of how long that takes. And then this is what Caroline's hair looks like. So I gave her a lot more locks than she's like pictured with. And I did that intentionally because especially in the back of her head, her wig is missing quite a bit of hair. So more locks will give the illusion of more hair.
And just to make it clear, I didn't re-roll her hair. Once you take the hair out of the curlers, you can just literally split the curl up into multiple curls, and that's how you get that more full curly look.
So she'll just look like, you know, she has a fuller head of hair, and it just looks a lot better than having like a couple of different thin hot dog strands. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish up off camera attaching her head. I always enlist the help of my partner because it's easier to do with 4 hands than 2. And then I'm gonna just touch up a couple of shine marks. She has one on her cheek, can't really kind of tell on camera, right there, and then one right here as well. And I think I already got all the ones on her limbs. I'll do another pass through and then I'm gonna cut to the final results.
Here they are. So I put Caroline in her holiday outfit. I think she looks so cute. I'm really happy with the decision that I made to give her more of that volume. She just had like so little hair, and even though it's not necessarily authentic to, you know, how she went out, I think that you really need to do like a cost benefit analysis when restoring dolls that have been, you know, heavily loved. The other piece is, you know, obviously because I did that like very tight curl, her hair appears shorter than it would. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you may know that my preference is also just generally for shorter hair. So So, that comes through a little bit. I think that any person who restores a doll, their personal preferences just kind of shine through in their restorations. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy. Let me know what you think, if you have any questions about what I did, and if you have any tips and tricks to share along the way as well. I would love to hear that. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.